The arrival and request for sanctuary. The Kenzari vessel materialized at the edge of Earth's solar system, its once gleaming hull now scared and blackened from weapons fire. Inside the command center, First Speaker Lyran gripped the navigation console with 3 of her 4 limbs, her luminous eyes dimming as the ship's warning systems blared around her. Life support failing in sectors 3 through 7, reported Technician Voss, his translucent skin flickering with stress patterns. Main drive at 12% capacity. We cannot survive another jump. Lyran's breathing sacs expanded slowly as she studied the blue-green planet on the main view screen. This is it then, our last hope. For 6 standard cycles, the Kenzari had fled across the spiral arm, pursued relentlessly by the Galactic hegemony's hunter fleets. Once respected diplomats and mediators throughout explored space, the Kenzari had fallen from favor when the hegemony's new ruling coalition discovered the full extent of their psychometric abilities. Approaching vessels detected, announced Security Officer Maria, her voice trained. Primitive design, but armed. Local designation, Earth Defense Force. Open communications, Lyran ordered. Standard diplomatic protocols. The view screen shifted to show a human face. Dark-skinned, female, her expression cautious but not hostile. Unidentified vessel. This is Admiral Helena Chen of Earth Combined Defense. You have entered restricted space. Identify yourself and state your purpose. Lyran stepped forward, straightening her posture despite the pain from injuries sustained in their last escape. Admiral Chen, I am First Speaker Lyran of the Kenzari Diplomatic Fleet, or what remains of it. She paused, swallowing her pride. We come seeking sanctuary. My people are refugees fleeing persecution. Our ship is failing. We have nowhere else to go. Chen's expression remained carefully neutral. Our scans show your vessel is heavily damaged but still armed. Explain the nature of this persecution and why you've chosen Earth. The Galactic hegemony has labeled us a threat to interstellar security because of our natural abilities. Lyran gestured to the crew around her, each bearing the distinctive iridescent markings and 4-limbed physiology of their species. We are psychometrics. We can read emotional imprints left on objects and places. For generations, we served as diplomats, mediators, and occasionally investigators. And this is why you're being hunted. Chen's skepticism was evident. The new hegemony leadership fears what we might learn from touching their possessions, their secret deals, their hidden agendas, their true intentions toward smaller worlds. Lyran's voice grew bitter. They claim we manipulate negotiations by fabricating emotional readings. It's false. We cannot create impressions, only read what is genuinely there. A brief silence followed as Chen appeared to consult with others off-screen. The Kenzari crew waited, tension visible in their fluctuating skin patterns. Why Earth? Chen finally asked. We're not part of your hegemony. Precisely, Lyran replied. The hegemony avoids your system. They call humans unpredictable and dangerously independent. Those sound like qualities that might protect us. The Admiral's mouth twitched, almost a smile. Remain in your current position. Power down your weapons systems as a show of good faith. I need to consult with my government. The screen went dark, leaving the Kenzari in tense silence. They will reject us, whispered Medical Officer Drin, cradling a sleeping child. Like all the others. Lyran touched the child's forehead gently. Perhaps, but I sensed something different in the human. Caution, yes, but not fear or disgust. Not yet. 4 Earth hours passed before communication resumed. This time, Admiral Chen was accompanied by a silver-haired woman with a commanding presence. First Speaker Lyran, I am President Martina Oselic of the United Earth Nations. Admiral Chen has briefed me on your situation. Before we proceed, we need verification of your claims. Lyran nodded. We anticipated this. We will submit to any reasonable examination. We'll send a diplomatic vessel to dock with yours. Our team will include linguistic specialists, xenobiologists, and security personnel. They will assess your condition and verify your story. We welcome them, President Oselik. Our ship's systems are failing. We have 342 souls aboard, including 65 children. Many are injured. The President's expression softened slightly. Our team will include medical personnel. The Earth vessel that arrived was small but well-equipped. Its commander, Colonel Aiden Takahashi, led his team through the airlock with a mixture of caution and curiosity. The humans wore environmental suits despite assurances that Kenzari biology posed no threat. Precautionary, Takahashi explained, his voice slightly mechanical through his helmet speaker. Standard protocol for first contact situations. Lyran conducted them through the ship, revealing the desperate conditions. Makeshift medical bays overflowing with injured, emergency repairs holding critical systems together, families crowded into cargo spaces converted to living quarters. Dr. Sophia Lin, the human medical officer, immediately began assisting the overwhelmed Kenzari healers. These people need proper medical facilities, she reported to Takahashi. Many won't survive much longer in these conditions. The colonel nodded, then turned to Lyran. You mentioned psychometric abilities. Would you be willing to demonstrate? Lyran hesitated. It requires physical contact. I understand. Takahashi removed his glove and offered a simple metal badge from his suit. This is my service medal. Taking the object carefully, Lyran closed her eyes. Her skin rippled with blues and greens. Pride, significant personal sacrifice, grief. Her eyes opened. You lost people under your command. You blame yourself, though they view you as their savior. Takahashi paled visibly. That's accurate. May I? Dr. Lin asked, offering a small fabric patch. Lyran touched it, then smiled sadly. Your daughter made this. She was very young. There's love in every uneven stitch, and you've carried it through dangerous situations. It grounds you. The humans exchanged glances. Colonel Takahashi stepped away to communicate privately with Earth Command. When he returned, his demeanor had changed. We're preparing an emergency extraction. The UN Security Council has granted temporary humanitarian asylum while your claims are fully investigated. We'll transfer your people to a secure facility in the Australian outback where they can receive proper care. Relief washed through the Kenzari crew, visible in the brightening of their skin patterns. And our ship? Lyran asked. We'll be towed to our orbital facility for inspection and possible repair. First speaker, I must be clear. This is temporary asylum. Permanent status will depend on the investigation's outcome and political considerations. We understand, Colonel. Temporary safety is more than we've had for a long time. The transfer operation took 16 hours. Earth shuttles moved groups of Kenzari to the surface, while medical teams stabilized the most critical cases. Lyran was the last to leave the ship, pausing at the airlock to press her hand against the bulkhead, sensing the accumulated hopes and fears of her people embedded in the metal. The Australian facility had been quickly adapted from a science research station. Basic but clean living quarters, medical facilities, and communal areas were prepared for the refugees. A perimeter fence surrounded the compound, officially for the Kenzari's protection, though Lyran recognized containment when she saw it. President Oselik addressed the refugees directly once they were settled. Your situation will be investigated thoroughly. In the meantime, you will be provided with necessities and medical care. We ask for your cooperation with our security protocols and cultural integration specialists. What of the hegemony? Lyran asked. When they discover we're here, Earth makes its own determinations about asylum. Oselik replied firmly. We are not answerable to your hegemony. That said, we are not seeking conflict. Our investigation will be impartial. After the president departed, Admiral Chen remained behind. She approached Lyran privately. The president is sincere, Chen said quietly, but there are political realities. Some of our people fear outside influences. Others worry about provoking a technologically superior power. And you, Admiral, what do you believe? Chen considered the question. I believe in evaluating threats based on evidence, not fear. Your abilities make many uncomfortable, but so far I've seen refugees, not infiltrators. She straightened her uniform. Work with us, first speaker. Transparency will serve you better than any alternative. We have nothing to hide. Admiral. Good, because we're about to be tested. Our deep space monitoring detected energy signatures matching your descriptions of hegemony vessels. They're still distant, but they're coming. Lyran's skin darkened with dread. So soon. We've accelerated the investigation. Dr. Lin and the cultural team have been authorized to begin deeper integration assessments immediately. Chen's expression hardened. We need to know exactly what we might be protecting and what might be coming for you. The following weeks brought rapid changes. As the Kenzari recovered their strength, they began working alongside the humans. Their psychometric abilities proved invaluable in unexpected ways. Kenzari healers could sense pain patterns that human doctors couldn't detect. Engineers could identify stress fractures and material fatigue by touch. Most surprising to the humans was the discovery that Kenzari children could develop limited psychometric connections with human caretakers, sensing emotional states without physical contact. Several security officers assigned to the nursery section found themselves bonding with their charges despite protocol. It's not mind control, Dr. Lin explained during a security briefing. It's more like emotional resonance. They're particularly attuned to authenticity. They respond positively to genuine care and withdraw from false overtures. Colonel Takahashi, now the facility's military liaison, added, "This actually enhances security. The children function as an early warning system for personnel with harmful intentions." Not all interactions were positive. A small but vocal group of human staff remained deeply uncomfortable with the Kenzari's abilities. Minor incidents escalated when one security officer claimed the refugees were reading minds and planting thoughts. Lyran addressed the issue directly in a facility-wide meeting. "We cannot read thoughts. We cannot plant ideas. We read emotional impressions left on objects, like fingerprints, but for feelings. Nothing more." "Then demonstrate," challenged the suspicious officer. "Read this." He tossed a sealed plastic container to her. Lyran caught it but didn't immediately touch the contents. "I'm sensing strong emotions from you already. Fear, anger, but also satisfaction." She opened the container to find a standard-issue sidearm. The room tensed as security personnel moved forward, but Lyran merely examined the weapon without touching it directly. "You believe this will prove something. Go ahead," the man insisted. "Read it." Carefully, Lyran placed one finger on the weapon. Almost immediately, she recoiled, her skin flashing warning colors. "Violence," she whispered. "Not service violence. Personal rage. This weapon has killed in anger." Her eyes met the officers. "Recently." Colonel Takahashi stepped forward. "Officer Mercer, surrender your credentials. You're confined to quarters pending investigation." As Mercer was escorted out, Dr. Lin approached Lyran. "What did you sense?" "Satisfaction when planning to kill. This wasn't his service weapon. It belongs to someone else, someone who committed murder." She looked up, expression troubled. "He was testing me, but also planning to discredit us when I failed to identify its history." The incident triggered an investigation that uncovered an unsolved murder near the facility, and Officer Mercer's connection to anti-alien extremist groups. Rather than damaging the Kenzari's credibility, the event demonstrated the potential value of their abilities in human society. Public opinion, initially wary, began shifting. News reports highlighted the refugees' assistance in medical breakthroughs and engineering innovations. Interviews with Kenzari children charmed viewers worldwide. Political debates grew less about whether to offer permanent asylum and more about how to integrate the refugees responsibly. Then, exactly as the initial goodwill began crystallizing into policy proposals, the hegemony arrived. The alliance and confrontation. The hegemony warship emerged from hyperspace at the edge of the solar system, its massive form dwarfing Earth's largest vessels. Sleek and predatory, it broadcasted its demand immediately on all frequencies, translated into 27 Earth languages. Attention Planetary Governance of Designation Earth. This is Enforcement Commander Drav of the Galactic Hegemony Security Fleet. You harbor fugitive elements of the Kenzari species, classified as security threats under Hegemony Proclamation 7829. Surrender all Kenzari individuals immediately or face corrective action. In the United Nations emergency session, representatives from every nation debated the response. Surveillance imagery of the hegemony vessel displayed on massive screens, alongside tactical assessments that painted a grim picture. Their weapons technology exceeds our most advanced systems by at least 60 years, General Yoshida reported. Our entire orbital defense network couldn't penetrate their shields. So we simply surrender the refugees, asked the Canadian representative. After promising protection, President Oselik stood firm. We will attempt diplomatic resolution first. The investigation into the Kenzari situation is complete, and the findings are clear. They are genuine refugees fleeing persecution for abilities they neither chose nor misuse. At the Australian facility, Liren watched the approaching crisis with growing dread. The Kenzari had finally begun to hope again. Children attended classes with human teachers. Adults contributed their skills to research projects, and the first Kenzari human friendships had formed. Now it would end, as it had on 3 worlds before. Colonel Takahashi entered her quarters without ceremony. First speaker, your presence is requested in the communication center. The Security Council wishes you to participate in the response to the hegemony. Liren followed him through corridors where both humans and Kenzari watched with tense expressions. In the facility's secure communications room, a wall of screens showed the UN session, the hegemony vessel, and various military installations worldwide. Admiral Chen nodded to Liren as she entered. First speaker, the President has authorized me to inform you that Earth has granted the Kenzari people permanent protected status. We will not surrender you to the hegemony. Stunned, Liren's skin rippled with conflicting emotions. Admiral, while I am grateful beyond words, the hegemony will not accept this decision. Their vessel could devastate your world. We're aware of the disparity in military technology, Chen replied calmly. Which is why we're pursuing an alternative approach, one that requires your participation. Dr. Lin joined them, accompanied by Professor Anwar Kazim, Earth's leading genopsychologist. We've been studying the neurological basis of your psychometric abilities, Lin explained, and we've developed a theory. Professor Kazim elaborated. Your species evolved as social empaths, first speaker. Your psychometric abilities originally developed to strengthen group bonds by sharing emotional experiences through touch. But we believe these abilities could potentially work at greater distances through technological amplification. To what end? Liren asked cautiously. Truth, said Admiral Chen simply. The hegemony leadership has lied to their own people about your abilities and the threat you pose. They fear exposure of corruption, not actual harm from the Kenzari. Colonel Takahashi brought forward a small device. This prototype combines Kenzari neurological patterns with our quantum communication technology. In theory, it could broadcast psychometric impressions to receiving devices, sharing emotional truth directly. We've equipped our response vessel with this technology, Chen continued. President Oselik will lead the diplomatic team to meet the hegemony commander. We want you there as well. First speaker. Liren stared at the device. This is unprecedented. We've never attempted to share impressions beyond direct contact. Will you try? Dr. Lin asked gently. It may be the only alternative to either surrendering your people or engaging in a war we cannot win. Hours later, the Earth diplomatic vessel approached the massive hegemony warship. President Oselik stood on the command deck, flanked by Admiral Chen and First Speaker Liren. The sight of the Kenzari representative visibly angered Commander Drav when the communication channel opened. Your presence with this contaminated species suggests unfortunate decisions, human leader, Drav said coldly. His species had evolved from apex predators, sharp teeth visible as he spoke, scaled skin gleaming under harsh lights. The Kenzari are fugitives from hegemony justice. Commander Drav, President Oselik replied evenly. Earth has investigated the Kenzari claims and granted them protected status under our laws. We do not recognize hegemony authority in this matter. Drav's expression hardened. Your primitive world has been deceived. The Kenzari use their abilities to manipulate emotions and perceptions. They represent a fundamental threat to ordered society. That is false, Lyran interjected. Our abilities are limited to reading emotional impressions, not creating them. We cannot manipulate minds. Your denial is expected, empath, sneered Drav. President Oselik, I will offer one concession out of respect for your species' potential. Surrender the Kenzari leadership for trial, and the remainder may remain under quarantine conditions on your world under hegemony supervision. Oselik shook her head. That is not acceptable, Commander. We propose an alternative resolution. There is no alternative. Surrender the empaths or face cleansing fire. Lyran stepped forward. Commander, before you commit to this course, I ask one thing. Accept a data transmission from our vessel, a simple informational packet about our situation. Drav's eyes narrowed. Your deceptions hold no interest. The transmission is in standard hegemony format, Admiral Chen interrupted. Verification protocols included. Surely the mighty hegemony doesn't fear information. This challenge to his authority worked as intended. Drav gestured sharply to his communications officer. Accept the transmission. Screen for intrusion vectors. Dr. Lin activated the psychometric amplifier. Lyran placed her hands on the contact plates, closed her eyes, and focused on the emotional truth of the Kenzari's journey. The pain of exile, the deaths during their flight, the fear of extinction, but also the genuine desire for peaceful coexistence. Aboard the hegemony vessel, the transmission appeared normal at first, standard data packets flowing through security filters. Then something unprecedented occurred. Junior officers removed their communication implants in confusion as unexpected emotions flowed through them. Veterans froze at their stations, experiencing flashes of memories not their own. Commander Drav himself staggered, gripping his command console as foreign feelings invaded his consciousness, not controlling his thoughts, but making him experience the emotional reality of the persecution he had enforced. What is this? He demanded, voice shaking. On the view screen, Lyran's skin glowed with effort. This is truth, Commander. Not words, not propaganda. Direct emotional experience. Your leaders lied about our abilities because we sensed their corruption through objects they touched during negotiations. They feared exposure, not mind control. Throughout the hegemony vessel, crew members exchanged bewildered looks as the emotional transmission continued. Many had never questioned the official position on the Kenzari. Now they directly experienced the suffering caused by policies they had enforced. Stop this transmission immediately, Drav ordered, but his communications officer hesitated, clearly affected by the emotional broadcast. Sir, I'm not certain we should. Drav drew his sidearm, but found himself surrounded by his own officers, their expressions troubled but determined. Commander, his executive officer said quietly, the transmission contains evidence of council corruption, falsified security assessments, violated protocols. Under Fleet Directive 155, we are obligated to investigate. President Oselik seized the moment. Commander Drav, Earth has no desire for conflict with the hegemony. We seek only to protect those who came to us for sanctuary. Perhaps there is room for both our civilizations to reconsider positions based on new evidence. Drav looked from his mutinous crew to the human leader, then to Lyran, whose broadcast had finally ceased. His predator's expression revealed calculation and self-preservation. A temporary withdrawal may be warranted while these serious allegations are investigated, he conceded stiffly. However, This matter is not concluded. After the hegemony vessel departed, Admiral Chen turned to Liren in the suddenly quiet command center. Will they return? Eventually, Liren acknowledged. But not as they came. The emotional transmission reached more than just that ship. Their communication network would have carried echoes throughout the fleet. Questions will be raised. Investigations demanded. And in the meantime, asked President Oselik. In the meantime, Liren replied, her skin glowing with cautious hope, we have found something neither the Kenzari nor humans possessed before. What's that? Colonel Takahashi asked. Liren touched the amplifier device gently, a voice that cannot be ignored. Your technology and our abilities together created something new. Direct emotional truth that transcends language and cuts through deception. She looked up at the humans surrounding her. That changes everything, doesn't it? 3 months later, the Australian facility had transformed from a refugee camp into a thriving community. The perimeter fence remained, but the gates stood open. Humans and Kenzari moved freely between the settlement and neighboring towns. Construction had begun on permanent housing designed to accommodate both species comfortably. In what had once been the secure communications room, now converted to a research laboratory, Liren and Dr. Lin worked alongside a mixed team of human scientists and Kenzari specialists. The prototype amplifier had evolved into a more sophisticated device. The applications extend far beyond conflict resolution, Lin explained to visiting dignitaries. Imagine medical diagnosis incorporating emotional components of pain, engineering assessments that include intuitive stress detection, historical archives that preserve emotional context alongside facts. President Oselik, touring the facility with Admiral Chen, stopped to examine the new technology. And the hegemony. Internal reform proceeds slowly but steadily, Liren reported. 3 council members have been removed for corruption. The classification of Kenzari as security threats has been suspended pending review. They will not risk war with Earth now, added Admiral Chen, not with their own fleet questioning the justification. Outside the laboratory windows, Kenzari children played alongside human friends in the afternoon sun. One small girl with iridescent skin patterns reached out to a human boy, who took her 4-fingered hand without hesitation. No psychometric amplifier was needed to read the emotion visible on both their faces. We still face challenges, Liren acknowledged. Integration is complex. Cultural differences create misunderstandings. And yes, some humans remain fearful of differences. As do some Kenzari, Oselik noted. Change is never easy. No, agreed Liren, watching the children. But sometimes exile leads not to an ending, but a beginning neither side could have imagined alone. In orbit above them, Earth's newly established diplomatic vessel prepared for its maiden voyage. A joint human-Kenzari mission to open formal relations with neighboring star systems. Its hull bore the emblem of both Earth and the Kenzari people, an open hand touching a spiral galaxy. Its name, emblazoned below the emblem, captured the spirit of the unlikely alliance that had emerged from desperation and compassion. Truth Seeker.